questions. Sir.
Hi. Good evening. Martin McFadden. It looks like whatever two get in this year, this November, you'll be able to redistrict the 13 congressional districts. Sadly, New Jersey's going to lose a district. That's 600 to 650,000 people leaving the state over the past decade. That being said, Assemblyman McKeon, the $400 million bond issue for open space, how are you going to fund it with X amount of people gone? So the revenue stream is not going to be there. How's this going to be funded?
If passed.
If passed.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that statistic. As a matter of fact, the census is just about to begin. We'll all be dealing with that to see what those numbers are. And I think New Jersey potentially losing one of the congressional seats is going to be more of a function of population growing by leaps and bounds in other places, particularly down south and out west, than necessarily our population diminishing. We're 8.5 million strong, and I think if everybody's nose was counted, for sure it'd be closer to 9 million people in the state. Again, when I get back to the open space funding, I tell you it's money that we can't afford not to spend. I'll just focus on water. Forget about our $4 billion tourism industry and the biggest growing component being ecotourism, or the number of farms that we've lost and that aspect of the agriculture, or refocusing on redevelopment when developers no longer have the open space necessarily to plow under. Just on water alone, we have a cheap and reasonable way to provide water to the people of the state. If we don't preserve this land where our aquifers are, we will add billions of dollars in the future to the state budget. We just can't afford it. This is why it's an investment that we have to make, let alone all the issues as it relates to quality of life. I don't care, Mr. Funt said before, I see nothing out here that needs to be preserved. I think that's untrue. I think in communities like ours, the space that's left is precious and really adds to the quality of life and keeps congestion down, and very, very important in communities like ours, suburban communities, to preserve open space.
Mr. Funt, with the decreasing population, how will we pay off of it?
I don't know. I think we're all wondering how that's going to happen. So, the question is, like anything else, priorities, right? When you have a problem, financial problem, you have to decide what are your priorities. I would urge you all to look at the website of the state, the Garden State Preservation Fund. Look at the facts and figure out, is this something that we really need at this time, and how are we going to pay for it? I find interesting is that now it's a bond issue. Mr. McKeon at one point actually tried to tax water. The water we drink, the water that we pay for. It would be something that would be subject to tax. Thankfully, other legislators stopped that, and we got it into a bond issue. And I appreciate your love for open space, and of course I do. Who doesn't want that? But then why are you pushing in West Orange, the Edison Village project? Is it West Orange needs more condominiums? Why don't you turn that into an open space? That seems to be better use of the money.
Ms. Jasey, you can do that. I've actually forgotten what the question was. Well, the decreasing population, the census,
yes.
well, and then how we pay back the indebtedness to the bond.
Okay. First of all, I think it's very important with the census coming up that we all encourage our neighbors, friends, family to be counted. That's very important. And secondly, on the open space question, I think we, even in hard times, it's important to think about the future. I talked earlier about preschool education. Why is that important? Why should we be spending money on that? Because we're investing in our children's futures. Same thing with this bond issue. Citizens of New Jersey have the opportunity here to invest in their future. Water is going to become probably more expensive than oil in the future. Planet-wise, across the world, water is becoming a scarce resource. And we need to think about that because we absolutely need it. We need clean water for our quality of life, to live, and for our future. How will we pay for it? I think we'll pay for it over time, and we'll pay for it by using the revenues that are generated by the acquisition of that open space going forward.
Talking about population shrinkage. It is happening, and the people who really know are the ones who make a business out of moving people out of state, and that's the moving companies. And I read, I believe a couple of weeks ago, one of the large national moving companies said that New Jersey has definitely the largest outflow of population in the country. So the open spaces that are in crisis right now are the open spaces of empty homes, are the open spaces on Main Street that are empty stores, that can't be leased, that businesses have folded, that jobs have left, and that is in crisis. Now, we all want open space. I want to preserve trees everywhere. We need them. But right now, that's not in crisis. What is in crisis is our ability to live affordably in New Jersey, to keep jobs in New Jersey. And the evidence of the crisis is everywhere. Go to any town. You'll see, it doesn't matter if it's a low-income town or a town like Livingston, all over are empty storefronts. Because the population doesn't have the money anymore to spend money in the local stores because the money is being sucked up, their money is being sucked up by property taxes and other taxes. So if we want to protect open spaces of storefronts and keep people in the homes, we have to reduce taxes. And we have to vote against John Corzine and his $1 billion of new taxes that he's going to propose as soon as he's reelected.
Mr. McKeon, you did something.
I just don't, again, I won't belabor the point. One of the bills that I co-sponsored now with Congressman Lance was as it relates to any indebtedness to have the voters decide. And I think that was an important reform. So ultimately it will be you who make that decision, and I hope you do it in a dispassionate way and an informed way. And I too encourage you to go to the Green Acres website, to visit the Green Coalition's website and learn the facts of it to understand why it's so economically important to our long-term future.
It was just reported last week that the town of Garfield received money from the Garden State Preservation Fund, our Open Space Fund, to refurbish their press box and to put in new lights. That's not money that went to water. That's not money that went to buy open space.
Thank you. All right.
I mean, I'd be happy to. Again, you take off
Let's get
something.
another bill.
I don't, you can.
Yeah, Ms. Jasey would, but not next
Okay, I apologize.
I'm okay. Okay.
Well, I have a thing.
For 30 seconds.
Okay. What I'm afraid of with the bond issue passing is that all this money is just going to become another slush fund for somebody. And I really don't have confidence in the administration right now of the state of New Jersey and the oversight that it puts on money, that it's going to be used for the purpose that it's supposed to be used. And there is a lot of trouble with the open space funding now. Living in Essex County, listen, I love cherry trees. I do. But Joe DiVincenzo, our county executive, has taken a lot of open space money and he's planted these beautiful cherry trees all over. And that's not buying open space. I like the trees, but it's not the purpose the money was intended for.